Have you been injured by a city-owned vehicle or fallen on city property? Now, most people don't know this, but if you're planning to sue the City of New York, you only have 90 days to act. If you miss that deadline, your entire case could be gone forever. Hi, I'm New York City and Staten Island personal injury trial lawyer Brian O'Connor with O'Connor Injury Law. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps you need to sue the City of New York, what to watch out for, and how to protect your rights. The City of New York, together with other municipal entities, are responsible for maintaining a lot: streets, sidewalks, buses, city vehicles, public buildings, and more. And when they drop the ball, people get hurt. Some of the most common cases that I've seen are tripping on uneven sidewalks, slipping in a city-owned building, even having an injury with a city bus or an MTA bus. Injuries from poorly maintained parks, and even students getting injured in the New York City public school system. But here's the catch. Just because it happened on city property doesn't automatically mean you have a case. You have to prove negligence, and that's where things get tricky. If you've been injured and the city or some other government entity might be responsible, you must file something called a notice of claim within 90 days of the accident. Now, this isn't the lawsuit. It's a legal warning that gives the city a chance to investigate before you sue. And if you miss this deadline, even by a day, you might lose your right to take legal action entirely. That's why it's critical to talk to an attorney as soon as possible. Time is not on your side. Now, what type of information should you put in one of these notice of claims? Your contact information, name, address, phone number, the city entity that's involved in your claim, a statement of the date, time, and place of the occurrence, as well as a description of the manner in which the claim arose, details of your injuries, and a claim for damages. I also like to include a photo or a diagram of the location, depending on the case. A photo is helpful because it prevents the city from claiming the notice of claim was too vague, which they will do if they think that you can get your claim dismissed. Sometimes I get calls from injury victims who have been injured as a result of city negligence, but they've waited almost a year before calling a lawyer. And on occasion, depending on the facts of the case, it may be possible to force the city to accept a late notice of claim, but it requires the filing of a petition in court in the borough where the injury happened. Essentially, we ask a judge to allow you to file a late notice of claim, even after you missed the 90-day deadline. The judge has some discretion to allow the late filing, but the judge does have some guidelines to follow in their evaluation. Number one, and this is really the most important factor in determining whether you're going to win your motion, and that is whether the city had actual knowledge of the facts constituting your claim within the first 90 days after the accident or within a reasonable time thereafter. Now, in cases that I've filed and I've won, I can typically prove that the city agency had an accident report on file that details the incident, what caused the injury, like a water leak in a school or some other dangerous condition. If you can't prove that the city had notice within the first 90 days or soon thereafter, it's going to be very difficult to win that petition. The second factor is whether you have a reasonable excuse. Now, this factor is not crucial, but it can be helpful if you have a good reason. Were you incapacitated or for some other reasonable excuse? And in case you were wondering, ignorance of the law is not considered an excuse by the courts. And number three is whether the city was prejudiced. And typically, if you can prove the city had actual notice within the first 90 days, it's going to be hard for their lawyers to claim prejudice. Number 4 and 5 are whether your claim has merit and the length of the delay. So if your motion to file a late notice of claim is only 30 days late, it might be granted. Whereas if you're almost a year late, it kind of becomes less likely. So the most important thing about these motions for a late notice of claim is that a judge has no discretion in granting one of these motions if it's filed after 1 year and 90 days. That's the deadline to file a complaint against the City of New York. These late notice of claim motions must be filed within the first 1 year and 90 days of the injury, or they're going to be denied, even if the city received notice within the first 90 days. Now, assuming that you filed a timely notice of claim and or the court granted a late filing, the next step is allowing the city to have time to investigate your claim. In many cases, they'll schedule something called the 50H hearing, which is like a deposition, where they're going to ask you questions under oath. How your accident happened, where you were looking, your injuries, your medical care, lost time from work, and other questions about your damages. Now, once that hearing is complete, you can file a lawsuit against the city or other municipal entity. But here's the next trap, and I mentioned it earlier. Unlike a typical negligence case in New York where you have 3 years to file a lawsuit, the City of New York and other municipal entities get the benefit of a much shorter statute of limitations, only 1 year and 90 days. And if you don't file your lawsuit within that 1 year and 90 days, you've already lost your case. That's why having someone who knows how to go toe-to-toe with the city makes a real difference. So here's what you need to remember. If you're injured due to something involving government property, employees, or vehicles, you must file a notice of claim within 90 days. And you need to build a strong case because the city has teams of lawyers working against you. So don't wait and don't guess. And definitely don't go against the City of New York alone. We've helped people just like you hold the city accountable. And we're ready to help you too. So stay safe, stay informed, and if you need help, we're here for you.